down the hottest trends, insider tips, and strategies shaping the future of e-commerce. Powered by Miva, the engine behind seamless online stores. Now here's your host, Rob Stanley.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Ecommerce Revamped. I got a good one for you today. And if that didn't get your attention, listen, this guy, Max Sinclair, one of my good friends from Azoma.ai, it's been in the AI world a long time. And we're going to be talking about how to get your brand mentioned by ChatGPT using GEO. If you're not sure what GEO is, hang on one second. Let's get Max into the studio here. Hey, Max, how are you doing?
Good, Rob. Good to reconnect. It's been like 6 months or a year or so. So
it sure has. It sure has.
A new podcast.
Yep, absolutely. So for those that are new to what GEO stands for, what is GEO, or Generative Engine Optimization?
There you go. You said it. Generative Engine Optimization is the science and the art of getting mentioned by AI engines like ChatGPT, Grok, Google Gemini, Perplexity, Amazon Rufus. It has this really poetic tie back to, it sounds similar to SEO, and I guess it's a similar concept, but in reality, the tactics and strategies are very, very different because the technology has fundamentally shifted with the advent of AI and large language models.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you brought up SEO. So kind of help explain a little bit more. You were just starting to what the difference is between GEO and like traditional SEO. Yeah. Because, in traditional SEO, a lot of it was getting ranked and getting backlinks and things like that. But there's got to be something a little different when it comes to GEO, correct?
Yes. Well, off the bat, backlinks don't really matter anymore. You'll see AI be able to pick up brand names without any backlinks. So you just need to get mentioned in articles or whatever, and that can help your brand to be mentioned by ChatGPT without the backlinks. But to answer the question, how GEO and SEO are different, I think it's important to understand like how the underlying technology, the underlying algorithms are different. So as you know, Rob, I worked in Amazon for 6 years. Part of my role at Amazon, or one of my roles at Amazon, was being in charge of catalog and browse experience for the launch of Amazon in Singapore. So I was basically making sure that the customer had a great search experience. So I worked very, very closely with the A9 teams based in Seattle, which is kind of the traditional Amazon algorithm. And the way that this worked is similar to how Google worked or any other kind of deterministic AI, where you would look at a keyword, and based on that keyword, you would assess what is the best kind of product, but it could be brand or website to give to the customer based on the keyword they put, based on a bunch of signals. And these signals would have been sales velocity, reviews, in stock, price, many, many signals, maybe 20 to 50 signals that Amazon would have to kind of rank what would be the best result to return for that keyword. And the exact mix of the algorithm was secret. So like the weightings of all these signals were secret, but what was in the what the signals were was pretty well known, right? It was like 20 to 30 things, everything that you would expect was in there, maybe a couple you wouldn't. The large language models work on a fundamentally different basis, which is why GEO is fundamentally different from SEO. And the way that large language models work is, first of all, they are trained on all of the data in the internet. So they have within them this like world knowledge and understanding that, the traditional AI deterministic age just doesn't have any. But secondly, the customer or the searcher, the user will put in a prompt. That prompt is in words. But then for large language models, those words are broken down into tokens, and the tokens are compressed for speed and to save on computational cost. And then in goes these tokens, which are numbers, into the LLMs, mixed with all of the context and understanding the LLM has, and out comes the output. And within that mix is also data on the customer. All of these LLMs like ChatGPT, Gemini, etc., all have memory. So they're also putting into the mix like who is the searcher, what are they interested in, as well as their knowledge of the world, as well as kind of this, tokens broken up, which which are corresponding to the prompt. But it's a long-winded way of saying your keyword isn't even getting into part one of that sequence. It's not even getting into the LLM because it's broken up into tokens and compressed. So the technology underlying these things are very, very different, and that's why we need to, have a new word, a new acronym to describe a new, a new methodology that marketers and heads of digital and owners of businesses need to think about.
I love that. I'm learning as we go right here, like literally. So I think you brought up a good point there, but I want to let's take it from the brand's point of view. Why is GEO important for brand visibility? I mean, they're getting mentioned, but is this converting to sales somehow, or is it mainly more about getting recognized, talked about?
So the last data we have from ChatGPT in terms of numbers on searches is in December, and we're now at the end of May, so we're almost 6 months later now, where they said they got 1 billion messages a day. For context, Google gets 8 billion searches a day. And in those last 6 months, we know that at least for one of those months, ChatGPT doubled in size month for month in searches when they released the image model, and they put out a statement again saying, the search volume has doubled. So ChatGPT is getting roughly a low estimate of 2 billion searches a day compared to Google's 8 billion. Obviously, this has not gone unnoticed by Google. Just last week, from when we're recording, they announced AI mode. AI mode is now kind of one of the 2 buttons. I'm feeling lucky in AI mode under the Google search bar. So it's becoming very, very prominent. I think they said they did 1.5 billion AIO views in the last month, something like this, and at Google I/O. So the world is absolutely changing to this LLM-based experience because it's so much better. I mean, anyone who's used one will know it's such a better experience. You don't get all these random junk returned to you. You don't get a list of blue links and advertisements. You just put in a question, get in your answer. So it's clearly the future, but also I think we've reached this point in 2025 where it's not just the future, but it's a brand new marketing channel, which is significant and people need to be worried about now.
Yeah, I love that. So you brought up a good point there. During the SEO days, if you wanted to get on Google, you went to a web page, you submitted your information, they would go check you out, rank you. But I'm assuming that's a little bit different, let's say for like a ChatGPT, if you want to start getting recognized or basically talked about on ChatGPT, depending on the questions that are coming in. What's the kind of basic process to get on to ChatGPT for that?
Well, I mean, this is our whole business at Azoma, and as you know, we've been kind of optimizing for AI-based search for 3 years now. So I can break a bit down about how we approach it for customers, and maybe it's interesting and helpful. So the first point that we do is we send the customer tells us what topics they're interested in. So perhaps they're interested in let's say kind of immunity shots, right? Just because that's what I've got right in front of me. So they want to, it's Moju is a customer. They want to rank for immunity shots. We will then send hundreds of thousands of prompts to the AI engines, and we can do this modeling the persona. So you can model, we can model the conversation for men in their 30s in London, searching about immunity shots and all the prompts that will happen by that. And we have a pattern that looks at how the AI engines scrape the internet and looks at the responses. And we have a predictive model to really get insights into what are the questions that people are asking, within that topic. And once we have that topic for the customer, with the hundreds of thousands of prompts, we can kind of show the customer what are the key citations. So what are the key authorities that are influencing the AI, which the customer can, kind of go and try, if it's a particular, health journals or magazines or whatever, blog articles, Reddit, whatever it will be, we will kind of show that to the customer. This is, what the AI is citing, when we talk about immunity shots. And then basically we show them how their brand is mentioned and their competitors, but then fundamentally also it's about generating content which is optimized for LLMs. So we use that data to help to generate, visual and written content. As you know, Rob, we've been doing this for years. We have, by far the most advanced content generation, on the market. And we will generate, images, product listings, infographics, blogs, all of the content needed to surface for these AI engines, and basically move the needle to help the customer increase their share of mentions.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So just kind of curious, we kind of mentioned something about backlinks when it comes to SEO.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when it comes to GEO, is there backlinks, or is it more the prompts you're sending, or
No
almost
backlinks.
like a backlink?
No backlinks.
So it's more the prompts, right?
I don't quite. Can you rephrase the question?
Yeah, absolutely. Because you were mentioning that at Azoma, you guys are sending a bunch of prompts over to basically mimic somebody actually entering something. You're trying to answer or get ChatGPT to understand that this prompt equals this brand, right? Like, is basically what you're doing, right?
We are building a digital twin of the AI engine for that topic. So if you are in the kind of immunity shots business and you're selling ginger shots and turmeric shots and all this kind of stuff, we will build a mini model for how your target audience in your location is talking to ChatGPT, and model out what the AI is referencing, what is influencing it, and how we can generate content which is going to increase your ranking and share of mentions.
Got it. Okay. That totally makes sense. All right. Got it.
And by the way,
go ahead.
ChatGPT has shopping, right? So, ChatGPT is now a bit kind of displaying product listings in the search. You type in, what is the best immunity shot for a hangover? If I type this in, it's going to come up and it's going to give me, 2 or 3 brands at the top that I can click and pay with. So that's our big focus. We want to help brands to ensure their product listings are the ones that are surfaced in ChatGPT.
Absolutely. No, it's super cool. It started happening a little while ago, but not too long ago. And for instance, I was actually searching some local golf places to go golfing, right? And it gave me, I think, 4 images just above the answers that kind of gave, based on my prompt. And I could literally click on those and it would take me right to the website, and I could get a tee time and all that stuff. So it's pretty cool that they're doing that now. Now, what about when it comes to content types? Is there certain content types that boost the GEO effectiveness versus others?
Yes, absolutely. And getting content that is good for kind of GEO, or sometimes it's called AEO, answer engine optimization, is all about giving the LLMs context, because these AI engines are fundamentally at this point smarter than any human. They have all the context in the world. They have all the data on the person on the other end who's typing into them, and they're going to serve them super personalized stuff. So in order to optimize on your product listing, specifically in your content, you need to be doing contextual, intent-based content. So who is the product for? What is the goal or purpose they're buying it? What is the event they'd use it for? All of these kind of, what season or location would they use it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All of these things, both in your written and visual content, are super important to just give the LLM context and help to serve as a product. And kind of repeating in the old SEO days, keywords, like the same variation of keywords and slightly different variations, that is not going to get you anywhere. So it's a totally different technology. It's all about intent. It's all about making good content that is good for humans, but also is readable by the AI as well.
Excellent. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but right after, I want to come back and talk about Rufus versus ChatGPT when it comes to utilizing brand data. We're going to talk about that right after this.
Looking to take your e-commerce business to the next level? Meet Miva, the platform powering seamless online stores with the flexibility you need to grow. From custom solutions to user-friendly tools, Miva helps you create unforgettable shopping experiences. Ready to transform your business? Visit miva.com/podcast and see what's possible.
Yeah, so be sure to head over to miva.com/podcast. We got lots of cool content over there and some cool downloadables and stuff like that. It's actually being redone in a couple weeks, about the time this comes out. But listen, everybody, I got Max Sinclair on from Azoma.ai. We're talking about how to get your brand mentioned by ChatGPT with GEO. Right before the break, I was asking Max to kind of help us understand the difference between Rufus and ChatGPT when it comes to utilizing brand data. Go ahead.
I'll be honest, and I'm a huge proponent of Rufus, as you know, and I believe it's the future. But Rufus and Amazon are somewhat behind now the kind of model standard we're used to elsewhere. So Gemini just released 2.5. All of us who use Gmail and have kind of business accounts in Gmail, I don't know if you guys do it, Miva, will have that for free. Gemini 2.5 is a super advanced model. Similarly, like Claude Sonnet 4.0 is a super advanced model if you like the Claude. And Rufus at the moment feels a bit like using ChatGPT 3, kind of like, one of the early versions of ChatGPT. And it's funny, you can really almost sense a difference. So still about 14% of customers are using Rufus in their searches on Amazon now. So it's a growing and significant amount of people using it, despite, as we talk about this in May, the experience not being that good. But I mean, for me, the direction of travel is clear. Amazon, one of the biggest investors in Claude. I think they invested $4 billion into Claude, Anthropic, the parent company of Claude, at some point. So they will, they're an AI technology company first. They will sort this out, I'm sure, in the coming months and make this kind of comment look a bit dated and rather stupid.
Yeah, that's probably true. Max, let's help out some of the small businesses. Some of these small businesses are just kind of getting started. They want to figure out how to leverage this GEO strategies. Maybe they're still a little confused, but they definitely want to do it. What kind of advice do you have for them?
My advice would be, we are in the period of early adopters and first movers now. And if you think about the same period at the start of the internet, when kind of SEO was becoming a thing, TripAdvisor is a great example of a company who adopted SEO early and reaped the benefits. So at their peak, TripAdvisor was worth 14 billion. I think they get something like 200 monthly organic visits now still. And the way they did that was by, doing what we talked about for SEO, which is backlinks. They gave hundreds of thousands of backlinks out to all the hotels and restaurants, which the hotels and restaurants would display on their website, saying, "Oh, look, I got 5 stars on TripAdvisor." Link back to their website, to TripAdvisor's site, and they get all this kind of juice from the backlinks, which was important in the SEO days. And they also would have thousands of landing pages to say best restaurants in London and best hotels in Barcelona and all these different landing pages, right? So the ones who moved early, like TripAdvisor, got a real lead. And if you listen to podcasts, as I have, of the CEO of TripAdvisor, he will talk about how SEO was a key part of the strategy. And there were other businesses at the time, Virtual Tourist, who actually was launched before TripAdvisor. They went out of business in 2017. Of course, many reasons why companies go out of business, but they did not have that same focus on the SEO strategy. And what I would say to companies starting out now is that we're in the same period. You have the same opportunities now to lean all in on this, make this your main marketing channel, and know that in the future, this is going to be the dominant thing, and you could become $1 billion business because you have, you've been early to be ranking on ChatGPT.
Yeah, no, I love that. The good story about the TripAdvisor. I love going on TripAdvisor myself. So and leaving reviews when I've been places. When it comes to, let's talk a little bit about metrics. Like when people put these efforts into trying to get on, let's say to ChatGPT again, just sticking with that, is there somewhere they can go check to see any sort of metrics, or like, hey, it's on there now? Or
they can check on Azoma, of course. We measure the share of mentions, but also, you can check on your Google Analytics. You can check how many website visits are coming from ChatGPT. And what I would say to you is 50% of conversations in Perplexity have a follow-up question, and it's probably roughly similar. So if you think about your own usage of ChatGPT, you ask a question, probably 50% of the time you ask a follow-up question, right? To you drill down. So the people coming out of ChatGPT to your website is not one for one in terms of them searching it, but it's a super high intent person when they do come out. Studies have shown that they have like a 25% higher purchase rate when they do end up on your website because they've done all the research in ChatGPT and now they're on your site ready to buy. So you can check on your Google Analytics. If I've given you the statistics, so it's about 2 billion searches. So that should be about 25% of your, if you're as optimized for ChatGPT as you are for Google, that should be about, that would be 25% of your searches. And if 50% of people ask a follow-up question, that's 12.5% roughly is the levels that you should be expecting for ChatGPT. If you're at 1%, then you're in trouble, right? You know that you're not optimized at all. If you're at, 5 or 10%, then you know that you're in the range where you could be. But I mean, we see businesses all the time who are really elite at, including my business, right? Azoma, we see, where it's really driving a really significant volume of traffic onto your site.
Nice. Super cool. A second ago, we were talking about TripAdvisor. I mentioned something about reviews. Do customer reviews impact their GEO ranks?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Tell us a little more. Sorry, tell us more.
Yes, absolutely. Customer reviews absolutely do the rank, but interestingly, not just on your website. These LLMs will be smart enough to pick up things from TikTok, from Instagram, from all over the web, from comparison sites. I mean, if you look at a query on a good AI answer engine now, like Gemini, Perplexity, ChatGPT, whatever, you can see like how many sources it's referenced. And especially if you do deep research. So for example, I'm looking at supplements on my counter here. Like when I buy supplements, it is one of those things where, if you have a high consideration purchase, you are going to do the deep research. And, with that, you it may be looking at hundreds of links, right? So it's going to be looking at all the reviews across multiple different places, Reddit, Instagram, everywhere. So these are super advanced, but yes, like, of course, and this is one of the things we'd help with at Azoma is like ensuring you'd be mentioned by Reddit and, you talked about positively there because we know that's a big influence. Also by the influencers in your space. So if there's particular blogs on supplements or whatever, like influencers on health, I'm thinking like Brian Johnson, right? The Don't Die guy. If he's put something out on supplements, I'm sure it's going to be very high authority. Even if there's no blue links or anything out, like backlinks, just being talked about and reviewed is definitely important. Yes.
Yeah, that was interesting that you mentioned like Reddit and some of the others, because it's not just looking at reviews from one place. It's going out and scattering the whole web, looking for mentions, reviews, all kinds of stuff, which pulls in all the data, which, to be honest, I'm going to use that data probably more even than the Amazon reviews, because on Amazon, you can manipulate a little bit here and there. And, I always want to get the best review, especially when you're talking about supplements, something you're going to, put in your body. I definitely would be careful on that one. Max, we're gonna, we got a few more questions to go here, but as we come towards the end here, I want you to help us out with kind of what is the future trend you see emerging with GEO today?
So I think large language model based search is going to be the default on marketplaces, off marketplaces for search everywhere. I think voice is going to play a big factor. I think that people are going to get more used to kind of searching by voice. I already do this with Perplexity often. I think it'll become more widespread. I think that PPC, pay-per-click advertising, is going to change. People don't want blue links. They just want the answer. So I think how the advertising model of Amazon and Google and these kind of players is going to shift. And, there'll be stuff like sponsored questions, which we've seen already in Amazon Rufus, where you ask a question, it gives you the answer, but then you can bid on a follow-up. As a brand, you can bid on a follow-up question. So if I say, what's the best supplement for men in their 30s? And you can bid to be, why is X brand, good for men or something like that, right? So you can bid not to be the answer, but to be one of the suggested follow-up questions. So I think that's a very interesting innovation to make a non-intrusive search experience for customers, but still get brands in there. So yeah, I think a huge amount of change is coming. I think we'll soon be searching by agent, so probably not for supplements, but if you're looking to replace a part of your washing machine or something boring, or maybe you have like a specific 2 meter by 1 meter space on your wall that you want to fill with that you want a closet to fill, or whatever it is, and like you only have those dimensions, you're going to run a agentic search to kind of qualify that everything you get is within that. Maybe not the best example, but you can use your imagination and think of examples of where like agentic comparison is going to be helpful beyond what I've said. Again, Google have been quick in this space. They've, maybe not great for e-commerce sellers, but they've just launched kind of like this price tracking agent. So customers can say, I want to buy X t-shirt at $50, and it will, wait until it hits that value, and then it will check it out automatically for the customer. So I think lots of things are coming. I think it's very exciting. But I mean, it's hugely transformational, and like the speed or the pace of this change is only increasing.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Max, why don't you tell everybody a bit about Azoma, what you guys do, and how they can reach out to you?
Yes, so we help you to get mentioned in AI search. We will generate optimized content, visual written product listing content. So and also show you the analytics of how your brand is performing versus your competitors, and your share of voice. So if you want to reach out to me, LinkedIn is probably the best. I'm Max Sinclair on LinkedIn. And we also have a contact us form on our website. There we go. That's beautiful. That people can fill out. And they can, one of the team will be in contact.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So those are listening, Azoma, AZOMA.ai. So if you need to know how to spell it, there it is. And Max, you got to give me one more plug to everybody, because I have been a big fan of e-content myself, and give everybody just a brief explanation what it does, because I love that tool. I've had you on. Anybody who's listening, if you're interested in it, me and Max have done demos. You can go back and look at some of the demos we've done, but tell everybody briefly.
We should come back and do a demo for Azoma. So
we will.
So the business started 3 years ago. E-content is still one of the key products in Azoma. We rebranded as Azoma. So in my mind, Azoma is the overall brand of the company. The reason we rebranded is we felt the name. There's no good name, no good time to change your name, but we felt the name better kind of spoke to the ambition and the type of company we wanted to be. E-content is like our flagship product at Azoma. It's a content generation product, so that's how we kind of think about it internally. But there's some other stuff that we do as a company as well, such as kind of the analytics in ChatGPT and the likes of that kind of stuff. And e-content is very much focused on the product, like optimized product listings, and then Azoma is kind of a bigger piece, and we'll have multiple other products in the future as well as we get into this agentic space, that will sit nicely kind of alongside e-content.
Absolutely. The easy way I always tell everybody is, if you want to take your product, isolate it, and make some really cool lifestyle images with it, with a little bit of AI and a couple clicks, that's econtent.ai right there. That's the way I always talk about it. So,
and it's free, by the way. So we've now made e-content a premium tool. So we've been doing a lot of experimentation and changes. Cool. So e-content is like a freemium tool. Azoma is kind of like the enterprise solution, and we're working with the likes of L'Occitane, Zappos, Canadian Tire, Bernardo's on kind of like the enterprise solution, and we've got like that freemium version as well. So that's also kind of how we're splitting out.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Everybody go check out Azoma, AZOMA.ai. Max, always have a great having you on the Ecommerce Revamped Podcast. I always love getting them on when I have a new podcast, but always good content. You're always like, you're one of those guys who definitely stays up on everything and knows what's going on. And that's what's the best part about bringing you on, because you're right there at the cutting edge. Listen, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Max, thank you for coming on, and we'll be sure to see everybody on the next episode.
Thanks for tuning in to Ecommerce Revamped. Ready to take your e-commerce business to the next level? Visit Miva.com for the tools to build seamless online stores and unforgettable customer experiences. Until next time, keep your carts full and your customers happy.